Okay, so I bought a Barn Find Rover 800 Vitesse Coupe that I saw on one of the Rover Facebook pages. The goal is to try and get it put back to former glory. Cost me £1,200 for the car. Been sat in a garage for 18 years, so since 2007, so it's 2025 now, so that's 18 years. Passed its MOT, it did about 1,000 miles and then got tucked away. We have no idea why. The guys decided not to drive it anymore, but we went and picked her up for 1,200 quid, and here she is. And I guess this is the story of how we get on putting her back to former glory. So I'll do a walk around of the car. You can see she's quite dirty. She's been sat in a garage for 17 years. There's not much sign of rust on it. I mean, the sills actually looked okay. The side panel's hanging off there, as you can see. But actually walking around the car, and when we got the jack up and had a look underneath, the sills on that look quite good. And I think the reason for that, it had been in a garage, but there were a few sort of holes in the garage that it was sat in, and I think that sort of created a nice passage of air, really. So the car never really sort of got wet, sort of in any sort of way enough to take the sills and stuff out. The engine bay is a bit dodgy and corroded in there, which we'll see shortly, but as you can see, there's a little scuff on the front. The wheels are quite dirty. Little crack on the headlamp there. And there's a few little scuffs, one on the front bumper, one down the side there. But generally speaking, I think first things first is give her a clean up and see how we get on. As you can see, it's quite sort of dirty on the roof. Bloody filthy down there, so we'll give her a clean. So going inside the car again, it's quite dirty. There's a heat gun in there, no idea why. I think a good valet in there will do it the world of good. It's got the original carpet mats and stuff like that. A little bit of mould on the gear stick, but the roof lining's quite good. There's no sagginess to the roof lining, and surprisingly, everything in here works. I've not checked the heated seats yet. That's the only thing I've not tried. Trying not to run the car too much because the cam belt was done on 70,000 miles about sort of 4 years before the car was taken off the road. And it's been sort of for 17 years, so I don't really want to run the engine if I can help it. But I'm guessing I might need to try those heated seats out. But as a whole, everything works. All the aircon works, all the electrics work in there. So that's been quite a result, really. So going into the driver's side, the seat bolsters are actually in quite good condition. I work in the detailing industry anyway, so as I work my magic on this, we'll get some conditioner back into these seats and get them supple again, because they are quite brittle, which is what you'd expect one from a car that age. And certainly when it's not been leather hasn't been conditioned, or it hasn't been cleaned for the last 20 years. So it's quite grubby in the back too. There's a bit of trim there, but nothing that can't be cleaned up, really. And as we come to the engine bay, you can see something's either had a good gnawed away at that or made a good nest out of it. We've checked all the wiring though. All the wiring's fine. So whatever rodent that was has made his nest. It could be in the car somewhere. But generally speaking, I think that's, at the moment, from what we can tell, it's about the only thing that it's gnawed away at. The engine's quite grubby there. There's evidence of a few leaks down there, look, which no doubt will sort out. The engine is coming out. My son works in motorsport, so he's going to get the engine out for me, and we're going to do the cam belts and all the pulleys and all the seals, and as much as we can without going into a full engine rebuild. The engine does run really nice, actually. I will fire it up and run it. But the engine does run quite sweet. as I said earlier, I'm a bit reluctant to run the engine for any amount of time because of the cam belts, but I will, just for the video, just fire her up so you guys can have a listen and see that we were actually quite surprised one that we put a new battery on it, put some new fuel in it, and she fired up, which was good. But as you can see, there's a hell of a lot of work to do in that engine bay to get that back to where it should be, but she's come to the right place anyway. Okay, so let's fire her up. Okay, ABS light is on the dash, something I think we need to look at when we actually take her for a proper drive. But you can see she's actually running quite sweet. I mean, the car had got full service history before it was parked up. There's no sign of any oil or water mix together anywhere, so we're pretty convinced that there's not an head gasket issue there. But obviously as we get sort of stuck into it, we'll probably discover a bit more, but as a whole she runs quite sweet, fires up on the button and ticks over really nicely, so fingers crossed it's not going to come back and bite me on the arse.